and welcome to the MidSummer edition of Witch Chat Chats, sponsored by Evermoving We Rise and Moonlight Potions and Charms. I am your amazing goddess host, Miss Nikki, and we have our wonderful, our world-famous conjurer. His name is Saul Ravencraft. How you doing, Saul?
Oh my goodness. A conjure means different things to different people. To British people, that makes me a stage magician. But to root workers, that's something completely different, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you are the Texas Mojo Man.
I definitely am. How are you today, Nikki? It's hot.
It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
That'll be an edition, a popular edition of Witch Hat Chats, I'm sure. But we're probably getting pretty damn close to that. It's been in the hundreds the last several days here in the Austin area, and sometimes that's just the way it is.
Yep. You're in Texas. You're in the middle of the desert.
Well, there is some desert around. The hill country is a little more lush, but we've been dealing with some drought. So it's not my favorite time, but you move on, right? What else are you gonna do?
Right. And here is hot is in the 90s, which to me, if it gets above 70, we're hot.
Yesterday it was 102.
That's the reason why I don't live in Texas.
Among the reasons, I'm sure.
Oh, so I've been making all of the magical waters we've done. I've made peace water, rose water, Papa Legba water, and Florida water. You know, when I first heard about Florida water, I was in California. And I used to spend a couple of my summers in Florida when I was a kid. And I'm not really much of a Florida person. Number one, the heat and the humidity absolutely kill me. I cannot live in Florida. And plus, there's so many other things, but I'm not really much of a Florida person. So when they said about Florida water, I thought, nobody drinks the water in Florida. Ew, because it stinks. It's swamp water is what it was. But when I first heard about it, right. And they're like, no, it's the cologne. It's a magical spray. I'm like, well, couldn't they figure out something different than calling it Florida water? Like, here's swamp water. We're going to spray you with this, and this is supposed to cleanse you.
Right. Well, I use Florida water. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and mine's homemade, and it smells absolutely terrific. I've got a lot of good compliments on it. So I made a bunch of those. The big ones and the little ones are available in my shop to be able to purchase. And like I said, I've done Papa Legba water, which smells absolutely marvelous. And then, of course, my peace water and also my rose water. So I've done a lot of waters over the week, and I'm finally finished catching all that up. And then I'm going to be starting on some other things this week. So what's been going on with you here lately in the last weekend? So,
well, the interesting thing is we did the blood moon rituals, right? And yours was more of a formal situation, and mine was a little more spontaneous. I hadn't really planned anything. I know, bad wizard, but I didn't. I wasn't sure what to do with it, and spontaneously I was moved to do something. It was a very informal ritual. I I shared aspects of what I was doing, along with pictures of the moon at each phase on Facebook, so that people could participate. But I wasn't really doing a video of it. And essentially, I began. I pulled a rocking chair out in the driveway where I could see the moon clearly, and I lit up a cigar, and I guess the moon was about half waning at the point that I really began. And I called to the elements, and I called to the entities, and I called to the ancestors, and everyone I could think of that I felt was a potential ally, and pulled them to me. And then I watched the moon go into the full eclipse and began to talk about the things that I wanted to bring into my life as I watched the moon and took a picture periodically and shared a thought in the thread on Facebook. And apparently several people were following my spell work and participating in their own way. And a lot of what I asked for was opportunity. And for things to start being more attracted to me, so that I could take action with them. And it was a few days after that things started to happen, and people reaching out to me, talking to me that I hadn't necessarily talked to in a while, people demonstrating solidarity and support for what it is that I'm trying to do in various areas. A few things that got me a little bit out of my comfort zone. Someone that I hadn't talked to for years, who highly recommended me to be involved with something, but he did it with his picture of me from years ago. And so the kinds of things they were looking for from me were things that I had walked away from on some level. And yet, this was clearly being sent to me. And so on the spot, I realized that I could create a boundary for that sort of thing to live in and turn a no into a yes. And it's opened up this whole other realm of activity that is going to be going on. So it's been very exciting to watch this stuff start to evolve. Now, a lot of it is, as far as what's going on with me right now, it's the same stuff. I'm going to be at Curia Arcanum's on Thursday, and I should be there maybe on Sunday. I'm double checking that. Ravencraft's Vault of Horror is going on tomorrow at Doc's Drive-In, and then again on Monday at Mr. Tramp's, our south and our north versions of it. And so the normal stuff keeps going. I'll be doing Witch Hat Chats on Sundays, right? All that stuff continues. But in the mix is all this other sort of randomness that has gone into play. And I attribute it directly to that blood moon ritual. And it's funny because we do send things out, and we sometimes wonder, gosh, did that really do anything? Because it doesn't have an obvious impact. And so when something like this happens, where my intention is clearly being magnified and clearly coming back to me with goodies, that's pretty cool stuff. So not much extra to share yet, but stuff definitely going on, and that's very gratifying. Thank you to all the entities and universal beings that are conspiring to shower me with blessings. I am so grateful.
Yeah, we should be grateful for what we have received, because there's people that are a lot worse off than you, and then there's people that's a lot better, but we're not in competition with anybody. So we should be grateful and at least let the universe know, say, hey, thank you for what we've received. I appreciate it. And it goes a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So you want to know what our divination is for today?
Always. Always.
All right. So people know that I drink a positive energy tea by Yogi. And no, I'm not paid to say that. But if anybody from Yogi is watching me and can change that, I would be so glad.
Least they could do is slip you some tea.
Right.
Send you a case.
Right. All right. So our divination reading for today says, the gate to happiness is self-compassion. Ooh. So what are your insights on that, Saul?
It's interesting because over the last few days, as I've been doing readings for people, I've been using the Halloween Oracle deck, which I'll also be using with us today to a degree. And I think it's a wonderful deck. Oracle decks can go either way. Sometimes they're pretty frivolous and just a novelty, and sometimes, like this one, they give you gorgeous imagery and deep meanings to work with. And the forgiveness card has come up several times when I've been dealing with people. And the way that I have people decide what cards are going to be in play, and it throws people off because I don't mind if people touch my cards. If I had made them myself, that might be different. But when you buy them at a store, I think it changes that mode, at least the way that I use them. And so what I'll do is I'll hand people the deck and say, hand me 2 cards, whatever that means to you. And it's funny because I say whatever that means to you, and they immediately say, what do you mean? Do I take them from the top? Do I just whatever you want to do? And so it's not my shuffling or anything like that causes this card to keep coming up. People are just finding it. And one of the big things that comes out in that conversation about forgiveness is, first, forgiveness is letting things go. Okay? If I forgive a debt for you, I'm not going to come back 6 months later and say, hey, Nikki, how about that money you owe me? That's just being a dick. Right? But when you do forgive a debt, when a debt is paid, someone goes to jail, right? And they pay their debt to society, and they move forward doing better. You know, you're not really supposed to drag that up again. Now, it doesn't mean you always forget it. It's good if you can, but some things leave scars. But you can decide that you're not going to drag people through that over and over and over. You'll deal with it with your own shadow work. And you won't, yeah, I guess it counts when I say it, huh? Mm-hmm. And you're just gonna let it go. So the reason why I say that is because I think it also counts to self-forgiveness. And one of the things that we'll do is we'll say, oh, I was young and stupid and I shouldn't have done that thing. And then we'll think about it later while we're driving around. And we'll think about it later when we're trying to do something new. And we'll continue to punish ourselves and admonish ourselves and just keep beating on that thing. And you can't do that. You have to forgive yourselves as thoroughly as you forgive others. And when you do that, the voices, the judgments, the limitations that are caused by that sort of self-flagellation, right, that goes on. It frees you. It frees you to move into the future. It frees you to evolve. It frees you to become. And it's such a fundamental part of that stuff. So that's what I take from that phrase. You gotta let your shit go.
Well, the one thing about forgiveness is for yourself. It's not for anybody else. Period. And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't matter what the situation it is. We always, to some point, blame ourselves. We think, well, if we turned right instead of left, we would have never gotten into that situation. If I didn't say this, we would have never gotten into that situation. If I would have never bought this, we would have never gotten in that situation. So we tend to blame ourselves a lot. And that's because society has actually taught us to blame ourselves to a certain degree. I mean, you see it with every victims. Doesn't matter what it is. Just for example, the victims of gun violence, they're always blamed to a certain degree. For example, if they didn't go into that grocery store that day, it would have never happened. Yeah, it still would have. If they would have had the doors locked at the schools, it never would have happened. Yeah, it still would. You know, it's always been placed on the victim, has always been blamed for all of this. And we're taught to always do that because society has always taught us to do that. So that's the reason why I say when it comes to forgiveness, it is not for anybody else. It is for you. Because if we cannot forgive ourselves and be compassionate with ourselves, we cannot move forward. And that is the reason why a lot of people have a lot of anger because they're not able to do that. They have a lot of sadness. We've got a lot of problems as far as depression and anger, aggression, and PTSD and everything like that. That is what causes that. So once you can learn to forgive yourself, because the one thing about it is when it comes to time, we can never go back. A time machine has not been built. Yeah, it's in the science fiction novels and TVs and movies and stuff like that. And that would be awesome if we can. It will also be hell if we can as well. But we can't do that. And that's something that we need to learn to accept. And once we accept that and we forgive ourselves instead of being so harsh on ourselves, we are able to get through our traumatic moments. You never get over it. When people say you get over it, they don't understand. You get through it. There's a difference.
Yeah, right.
Because getting over it means you forget it and it never comes back, but it does come back. It does when you least suspect it. So when you get through it, it means you have dealt with the trauma, you have forgiven yourself for your part, whatever part that is, whether it's big, large, or small, and you've able to look at it as if it's a television film and have no emotion over it, and you move on. That is what that is.
Yeah. And yet, when you truly forgive someone, when you grant them that forgiveness, while it is for your own benefit, certainly, and it does good things for you, it is such an empowering thing for that other person to experience genuine forgiveness. Because they're dealing with that same sort of issue that you are about self-blame and that sort of thing. And by you validating that this is done, we can move on, that's not you now. That helps people to do what they need to do. So I agree with you that it does do a lot for you, but openly sharing that forgiveness does a lot for everybody.
It does, to a certain degree. It does, yes. but it's mainly for you. It's what it's mainly for. If you, the other person is fine, to forgive the other person. I'm not saying not to, but it starts with you, not the other person. It starts with you. All right. So, what announcements do you have now, Saul?
Well, I think I kind of already gave them as I was talking about the Blood Moon ritual. Ravencraft's Vault of Horror, for those that like to follow me into my horror movie areas. Wednesday at Doc's Drive-In, that's tomorrow. No, it's not tomorrow. That was last Wednesday, as of the point that you'll be watching this. But tomorrow, Monday night, you'll still have a chance to see it at Mr. Tramp's. Of course, I'm at Curia Arcanum's House of Curiosities on Thursdays and some Sundays now. So check that out. And I am absolutely available for private readings, consultations, and even some of my paranormal entertainment. I can share stories about artifacts, and we can even do interactive things through the magic of live streaming communication. So reach out if you want to do something a little different. I love to create things, to remix things, and give people surprises when they think they're just going to get together and do a thing. And one thing that people have done is they've had a local gathering, but they've basically had me come in on the television. It allows me to interact and do some fun stuff. I'll teach people how to read their own palms, and we'll play some intuition games and see what happens. And that's a way to have me involved in an event that you're doing without necessarily flying me over there. But of course, there's nothing like being in person, and I will fly places. So certainly happy to have that conversation. What's going on with you, Nikki? There's always stuff going on with you. You're just a mad woman.
Well, with Moonlight Potions and Charms, we're still raving over those 5-star reviews. I mean, we're really loving it so much because we have excellent products, amazing service, and very much fast shipping. And we're still, for another month, we are at C-star sellers. So we're having a blast with that. And on top of that, we have our readings. So my ancestor readings are really, really great, especially for people who want to get started talking to their ancestors. Because basically, when you're talking about ancestors, you're talking about ancestors in the plural. You're not really talking about the ancestors as far as one particular ancestor or another particular ancestor most of the time. Most of the time, you're talking about the plural, which in my readings, I'll talk to you about what does your mother's side say? What does your father's side say? Give you the viewpoints of both of them and an overall thing. So it's really a great and kind of detailed little bit of a quick reading. So you can go and sign for one of those. Also, I'm available for coachings as well. Not to mention my baths. And we got baths and candles and oils and all kinds of goodies, all in our store. And also the Phoenix Crossroads Academy, which our feature class is the Evermoving We Rise first degree called Fire. So that I'm really excited about when that starts because number one, it's limited. So it's a limited capacity. So there's only so many people that's going to be able to be allowed into it for the first year. And with that is we go into depths. We go into a lot more depths than what most first degrees do in most traditions. With us, we start you out doing shadow work. Because we believe that if you can't control your emotions, how are you going to control your magic? And we not only do we teach you theory, but we teach you how to practice it, how to put that into action, and how to do field magic. So you're practicing every single day, and you're going to get to the point where you're practicing all the time and you're not realizing it. It's just that's something you do. So I'm looking forward to that. And then with Evermoving We Rise, of course, our MidSummer celebration is going to be June 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm looking forward to that because, of course, we're going to celebrate the Phoenix and everything the Phoenix has given us for the last year and what we're going to be able to celebrate in the future and so forth. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we also have our dark moon on the 27th. So make sure that you come into our Facebook page of Evermoving We Rise and be able to see all of that, because all of that information is in the summary. Now, as far as personal appearances, I will be making a personal appearance at the Mystic South Conference. That is July 15th through the 17th in Atlanta, Georgia. And I am looking forward to that one. I really am. And I'm going to be doing 2 workshops. One is called Shining the Light on Coffin Boxes. And the other one is tools used to communicate with your ancestors. So those are going to be some amazing workshops, and I'm going to have so much fun with everything else that we're doing there. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Saul and I, we are going to be doing the Witchsfest USA, which is also July 15th through the 17th, but we're going to be online for that because I can't be in 2 places at one time. So I'm going to be doing on Friday, I'm going to be doing backdoor cursing. And so I'm looking forward to being able to talk to people about that. And then on Sunday, I'm going to do the creative magical use of dolls. And Saul, what will you be presenting?
I'll be doing 2 presentations on Friday. I'll be doing Careful What You Wish For, The Path from Pessimist to Practitioner, where we talk about my own journey from being someone who was a debunker and disbeliever to someone who's in the middle of this. And I think some of my experience will be relevant to others who have stumbled into this path. And then on Sunday, I will be doing intention, will, and follow through using the basic elements of magic. And it's going to be talking about just the fundamental elements that go into crafting a spell, doing a working, and different approaches to doing that, different approaches to thinking of that, so that you are a lot more flexible in what you do with your practice. And you don't always have to look for someone to figure it out for you. You can use your own knowledge and experience and skills to do that. So looking forward to both of those. They'll be as interactive as we can make them. So it won't just be listening to me talk. Hopefully we'll have some conversation and interaction about that and get people more in a collaborative mode, which I think would be fun.
Yeah, it's always better when you're actually having a conversation versus, chatting or lecturing to me. I always like it when people ask me questions and make comments and stuff like that, because it just makes the time go by faster, and it just makes it a more interesting way of learning.
Right. It can be a wild ride, though, because you never know what you're going to get.
That's also true.
But it's worth it.
But you're a chaos magician, so you should be used to it.
Well, and honestly, if you're going to put yourself out there educating people, you need to be comfortable enough with what you're talking about that you can take a few curves.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, you're not really supposed to learn something last Thursday and sell it on Monday. I need to have some flight time and figure stuff out and understand it. So I think that's the proof of whether someone knows what they're teaching is whether they can handle curves. I don't think you should heckle people that are trying to teach or try and disrupt them. But if you've really got an honest question and it's unexpected, that should be fine.
Yep. And so we have a great thing that we're going to be doing for our Witch Hat Chat audience. So tell them what it is, Saul.
Well, as we just told you, we're going to be at the Witchsfest USA 2022, and one of the opportunities we have is to bring a couple of you with us. We each have a ticket available, and we thought the best thing to do with that is to create an opportunity for you to win a free ticket. Now, if you already know you want to go to Witchsfest USA and you understand the value of that investment and what it's going to do with you, with the dozens of presentations and all of the incredible knowledge and diversity that is going to be expressed, you should jump in. Go buy your ticket now. But if you're hanging on, you're waiting, you're not sure, then this is a great opportunity for the universe to manifest this for you. If you go into the links in the show notes, you'll be able to see the link for the free ticket. You just sign up with your email, and one of you is going to, well, a couple of you are going to win your own individual ticket absolutely free of charge. It's a $95 value. And you can give the universe the opportunity to say yes, you now. It's free. We're not gonna sell your email to the Russians or anything like that. We just want to create. We want to share this opportunity that we have in the best ways that we can. So go to the website, sign up, and you're in for the drawing. The drawing will actually happen live here on Witch Hat Chats shortly before the event. Star Ravenhawk is going to be our guest, and we're going to do that drawing live during the show. So how exciting is that? Don't worry, we're not going to tell the world your email address, but we will make sure that the winners are notified. So set the weekend aside either way. Isn't that exciting?
And the last day to register is July 4th.
July 4th, which is coming up faster than you know.
Oh, yeah. And also, Saul and I are available together, as well as we are separately for personal appearances and appearances via Zoom. So just let us know. Drop us a line at Witch Hat Chats, and we'll have a conversation with you.
And I got to tell you, the kinds of conversations that Nikki and I have out in the wild, I mean, here we're, I think, pretty disciplined and subdued because we have a lot of control what we're going to talk about. But when we're out in a panel discussion or we're out in some other kind of situation where someone else is throwing stuff at us, anything could happen. Anything could happen. A hockey game might break out. No, but it's fun because I love Nikki and I love the fact that we can have different perspectives and experiences and that sort of thing and look at things from more than one point of view. And I think that when you get a chance to tap that, that's a special thing. So careful what you wish for, right? But no, it'll be fun, absolutely. So don't hesitate. Book us now.
Yes. All right. So our topic for today is MidSummer. So happy MidSummer, Saul.
I know it really, this wheel of the year is spinning like crazy. Everything just has been flying by, and in good ways. But it's hard to believe that we're already at midsummer, and which means that before we know it, it's going to be Samhain, and it's just Yule. It's just. And I think the acceleration is good. It's good for me. During the last couple of years, I've felt a little like I was crawling through the molasses with the isolation and everything like that. And the fact that everything it feels like there's always something going on is a good thing. And hopefully, you out there in Witch Hat Chats land, watching us virtually, are experiencing the positivity coming out of that. That you're having demands placed on you because your manifestations are coming at you. And you got to do something about it. You can't just sit there when this stuff starts to happen. And so it can feel a little overwhelming trying to keep up with all of the things. But my gosh, I mean, it's what we wanted. We planted the seeds, we've tended things, and now things are starting to bloom. And that's an exciting time. You kind of in maintenance mode, preparing for the harvest, just protecting and nurturing and that sort of thing. But it's a wonderful time. So exciting and excited.
Yeah, but have you ever noticed that in all of the wheels of the year, they'll say, oh, Beltane is the fire festival, and Midsummer is the fire festival. But when you actually think about it, they're all fire festivals because you got Imbolc, you got Mabon, you got Samhain, you got Yule. I mean, come on.
Is it possible that witches are just pyros?
Yeah, this is, instead of saying it's a fire festival, it's just, I mean, come on. We use fire at anything. We like big bonfires, right?
Are you fascinated by fire? Do you love to stare into flames? Witchcraft may be for you. I think a fascination with fire is one of the other signs that you may be witchy, because so much is wrapped up in that fire. And I agree, fire is powerful, and it's very much at the center of a lot of a lot that we connect with and a lot that we do, and it's such a natural expression. And I think it's the fact that fire is pretty easy to work with, but spectacular, right? Love the bonfire, but a candle does just as well to celebrate fire and to experience fire. Sure, you can have a handful of dirt and enjoy the earth, right? You can play in the water, right? You can blow, fan yourself or something to experience the air. But fire is just, it's such an obviously living thing. And I think that it's so representative of that spark and that energy that goes into creating magic. So I can see why fire is so popular for everything.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the entity of fire if you actually look into the flame dancing, going up, going down, doing its little waves and everything. And I think another reason why fire is so crazy is because of the danger to it. To me, it's one of the most dangerous elements, because fire can be, if it's not controlled, can become very deadly very quickly. So that's the reason why we always need something to make sure that we put the fire out, depending on what type of fire that is, because there's more than just one type of fire. And I mean, people learn that from watching, at least from watching Chicago Fire. I mean, come on. Put the good looking guys in it, right?
You betcha.
And, you know, as long as you have the safety protocols, because, I mean, even a candle, if you don't watch it or if it's not in a safe space, it can catch other things on fire. I mean, for example, how many times have I seen being in the middle of ritual, you have somebody who has those long sleeves on and they're at the altar and they light all these candles and it looks all amazing, and then suddenly they're on fire. That's the reason why I don't have long sleeves like that. I ain't stupid. You know, you got to have something to put it out. You got to know how to put that out. You got to know how to treat a burn, you know, because even candles, you can get burned, you know, quite easily on the things. So you need to know how to be able to do that. So I think that with us, it's a fascination of the dangers that we can be able to be in, but at the same time, we're actually watching it from a safe distance, you know, when we take in the consideration about all the safety things. I mean, that's one reason why you don't turn around and light a fire in the middle of California during the drought. Okay? You don't do that there. Or you don't sit here and you leave a match on in the forest. You don't do that there either. I mean, come on. Or a cigarette butt. I really don't like people throwing their cigarette butts on the ground. It drives me nuts.
So I had a cat that was so dumb. You're supposed to say, how dumb was she?
Oh, okay. How dumb was she?
She was so dumb that one time I was sitting and I was working with a candle, and her name was Mutt. She was one of the cats that came in off the street. That seems to happen to us from time to time. And I saw her taking an interest in this candle. And I saw her getting closer to it, and I thought to myself, well, she's not going to sniff the flame. And then she got closer and closer, and she sniffed the flame. And she got a little burn out of it. It wasn't bad. You know, it didn't like scald her so much, but clearly she hit the heat there and she backed off. I'm like, okay, gosh, you're dumb. And then the next day, I'm continuing the work I'm doing with the candle, and she comes back and she sniffs it again.
Okay, so one time is enough. Next time you need to stop her.
Well, I didn't imagine that she was going to do this again, but she did. She didn't do it anymore. But she had to touch the fire twice. That's how dumb that cat was.
Poor baby. Poor kitten.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a good thing is that I have a small herb garden, and I have outdoor cats as well. They're feral cats that we've been feeding for the last several years. And this year, for some reason, they started to use my garden as a litter box. And that's when the spirit of my granny just gets into me, because she hated when people got into her flower bed. It was just, you just did not want to mess with this redheaded spirited woman when somebody got into her flower bed. Okay. We're from the mountains of North Carolina, right? So I was trying to figure out a way to keep them out of my garden. And it didn't matter what I did. They kept going into it, and I kept planting the plants that they said that they don't want to be around, like lavender. I'm sorry, they pooped right on top of my lavender. They said that they didn't want to be around rosemary. So, I was doing this Googling work and stuff like that. And finally, I found something that actually works. What you need to do is you need to put some type of citrus fruit peel, like oranges or lemons, put them in your garden, and they'll stay away from it because they don't like the citrus smell. So I did it, and they haven't been in my garden ever since. And I'm like, amazing. This is absolutely fantastic. I wish I would have known it before they killed my rosemary bush. Because that rosemary bush was with me for at least 2 years, and now it's just dead from them scratching it up and everything. But I just want to give everybody that little gardening tip in case you have cats that keep going into your garden.
How interesting.
Right. But MidSummer is a time in which everybody, they have people in England that are gathering at Stonehenge very, very early in the morning, more earlier than I would actually get up. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get up at the crack of dawn. The goddess did not make me to get up at the crack of dawn for anything unless I absolutely 100% have to. So people go and do that. And I think there used to be a way you can watch that online. I'm not sure if they're going to be doing it again this year, but I knew they started that during the pandemic. And it was like in real time, and it was free.
Yeah,
so
the English Heritage Society has been doing those broadcasts anytime there's something significant, and so yeah, you can watch that. The nice thing about it also is you had the ability to experience the replay as well. So if you're not an early riser, you can close your shades and relive it.
Right. And so I wanted to go ahead and let people know about that, because a lot of us are fascinated with Stonehenge, especially when it comes to the solstices. And that's when everybody gathers up at them. And so, this is a way for you to be able to experience it, but not be there. So you save the money on gas, and you save money on airplane and a hotel and all that other stuff.
That's right. It's a beautiful thing.
So, Saul, what do you do to celebrate MidSummer?
Well, as you may imagine, I don't tend to do a whole lot of formal things. I tend to learn about the ideas there and to incorporate that. But a lot of what I do tends to happen more in here than out here. And I say that, but maybe I get better at that, because there is value in doing ritual and participating in these things physically and not always doing it inside. But I think that's one of the things that happens as a solitary practitioner, is you do get into a mode where you kind of hold it in your heart and just have a pizza. And obviously, that's weak. And hopefully, my experience with the Blood Moon ritual helps demonstrate to me the value of doing it more externally. So I don't have anything planned yet, but that may change by the end of the day. Of course, I'm sure that you've got a very formal celebration planned.
Well, our plans with Evermoving We Rise are really never formal. They're a lot of informal. To me, when you say formal, that means I have to get into my robe and be really, really hot. And quite frankly, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be uncomfortable, okay? And it's a whole ceremony of doing all that. No. It's all of our rituals are very, very informal because we like to relax. We like to let the goddess in and the phoenix in, and we like to bring out our authentic selves. And the best way to bring out your authentic selves is through relaxation. So we are very relaxed when we do our rituals. But, the thing about it is, like I said, we're going to celebrate the phoenix, but I have yet to come up with a ritual as of right now. But I'm thinking about doing something about bringing and expressing your passion with this one, because when it comes to MidSummer is really all about the sun. It's about prosperity. It's about growth. It's about passion. It's about expressing yourself through all phases of life. And so I think I'm going to take all of that and we're going to do something with that. So I'm not quite sure yet, but I think that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm really looking forward to our celebration. When it comes to doing something personal, what I usually do is I usually talk to my fire goddesses on that day. And I light candles to them. And if I'm going to do a spell, I do a spell that day. And it's usually something that's very simple. It's very private. It's not one of those in which, and if you want to, do a real ceremonial ritual and stuff like that, that's fine. That's up to you. I'm not that way, okay? I don't have that time. I pretty much do my magic like I do my cooking. It's quick, simple, and fast. If it takes a whole lot of time to do it, nah, I'm not into that. I want to be able to get things done and then get to the part where we just sit down, we relax, and we have a good old conversation about absolutely anything. So I'm one of those type of people. I know, Saul, you're the one who likes to do the big ceremonies and stuff.
Well, I think there's a lot of value in that. What we have as theater grew out of all of those ideas and the need to tell those stories and express those things in ways that people could understand it. And I think that if you can't be to the point that nothing is accomplished unless there's a big ceremony, right? You gotta be able to do magic in your pajamas. But I think that if you let go of that stuff completely, and you never put on the robe, you never do a formal invocation, then you're missing some of what that was created for. And so doing it periodically makes it very special and reminds you of all of those things that are happening behind the scenes when you're more casual about it. I think you ought to plan a fancy ritual coming up sometime and really do it up so that your group can experience that and see the power that you display when you do that. because that's also one of the other things is when you move into more formal rituals, the assuming of the Godhead and the connection with deities and that sort of thing, because frankly they kind of like that stuff. They like someone going to that much trouble. And yet many practitioners have never witnessed it. And I know you've got experience with that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you could demonstrate to people what happens when you unleash all of it. So think about it. Think about it. That could be fun. It might cause people to see you in a different light when they understand how much you're holding back.
All right. And with that, we need to go to a commercial and hear a word from our sponsors.
All right. I'm Saul Ravencraft, co-host of Witch Hat Chats. I understand just how confusing and chaotic it can be to open to a path of magic and manifestation. Everything seems to turn on its head. I want to be an ally as you find the way upon your path. My studio setup will let us do readings, coaching, and exploration virtually, just as though you were sitting across the table from me. One size does not fit all, and we will work together to craft the right approaches to build your practice, your confidence, and your power using the tools of divination, magical works, and spirit connections. It's never too late to embrace a new path and emerge empowered. Go to TexasMojoMan.com and select Contact to begin. There's a message now. Let's get started working on your very good fortune.
You know, no matter what you call them, a voodoo doll, a puppet, or a Barbie doll, a doll is a doll is a doll. Doll magic has existed for ages. So other than the Hollywood voodoo doll, most practitioners don't understand what to do with them. So do you know that you can use dolls for healing, prosperity, empowerment, and many other magical purposes? So in my class, The Creative Uses of Dolls, learn how to use your imagination and to use your doll for all kinds of purposes and take your magic to the next level. My workshop is on Sunday, July 17th at 10 a.m. in the Morgan Le Fay Water Room. And if you don't have your tickets to Witchsfest USA, go to www.witchfestusa.org. And I'm looking forward to doing doll magic with you at Witchsfest USA. Enter to win a chance for a free ticket to Witchsfest 2022. Go to www.witchhatchats.com/register-to-register-win. And the last day to enter is July 4th. And we will announce the winner with Star Ravenhawk on July 10th on our show, Witch Hat Chats. And good luck. We are all magical beings. As a solitary magical practitioner, you can grow and develop yourself independently. Yet, the solitary path can be difficult and lonely with setbacks and self-doubts, and as you find your way without affirmations, reinforcements, or a safe space to practice, what do you do when things bump back? At Evermoving We Rise, our name is our lifestyle. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We teach you to understand and use the magical tools at your fingertips, while being upheld and developing personal responsibility for your own spirituality. We have a safe space to practice and learn as you master your craft. When situations bump back, You will have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Start today. Visit us at our website, Linktree, or Facebook page and discover why we don't fit in the box. Cursing has been around since the beginning of magic. Some people believe that the negative energies from the curse comes back to you. But what about if that's not necessarily the case? Your wording can create a back door to your curses, resulting in no negative consequences. Ooh, isn't that interesting? Well, in my workshop, Backdoor Cursing, you will learn the difference between a hex, a jinx, and a curse, and how to word your curses to create a backdoor, and when those curses are being used on you. So my workshop is Friday, July 15th at 10 a.m. in the Marie Laveau's Underwater Realm. So if you don't have your tickets to Witchsfest USA, go to www.witchsfestusa.org. And I'm looking forward to cursing with you at Witchsfest USA. Enter to win a chance for a free ticket to Witchsfest 2022. Go to www.witchhatchats.com/register-to-register-win. And the last day to enter is July 4th, and we will announce the winner with Star Ravenhawk on July 10th on our show, Witch Hat Chats. And good luck. Have you heard? People are raving about Moonlight Potions and Charms with 5-star reviews. 5 stars for excellent products, amazing services, and fast shipping. We are an Etsy star seller. Listen to some of our reviews. Author and owner of Wicked Witch Studios, Dorothy Morrison said, "I'm in love. The Marie Laveau Altar on the Go is absolutely amazing and jam-packed with everything one could possibly need, no matter what sort of magic they're planning. Kudos on a great product." Jess said, "Absolutely love the Papa Legba prayer candle. I've been hunting for a good Papa Legba candle forever with zero success, and I adore this one." High Priestess said, "Adorable wooden coffins. Can't wait to use them." And Angelica said about our ancestor oil, "Exceeding my expectations. Packaged with love and smells amazing. Definitely recommending and buying again." Make sure to check out our Bubbling Cauldron bath bombs, available in Luck of the Irish, Lavender, and Dragon's Blood. Our magical milk baths are also available in Papa Legba Purification, White Flowers, Lucky Love, and Van Van. All are homemade and spelled with love, care, and intention. Our Happily Ever After candle line is designed with you in mind. There is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you. What would you do if you open up your door to find a small coffin box? Since the days of Marie Laveau, coffin boxes have been used and conjured for a variety of reasons, including psychological warfare, intimidation, and transformation, just to name a few. My workshop is called Shine the Light on Coffin Boxes, and it is on Sunday, July 17th at 12:30 p.m. in the Oakwood Room. I'll be teaching the symbolic meanings of coffins and how to use them for a variety of magical purposes, including healing. And although not required, I will be selling my wooden coffin boxes that are 6 inches in length at the class for $14.50. They're very well made and they open very nicely. These are really, really nice boxes. And you can either IM me and I can deliver them to you at the class or ship them to you. Or you can purchase one there. It doesn't matter. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have enough coffin boxes for everybody, so make sure to get there as soon as you possibly can. And like I previously said, the wooden coffins are not required for you to have. But it's always good to be able to have something to look at and to touch the object while you're learning about it. You may want to bring a notebook to take notes. And if you're not registered for Mystic South 2022, go to www.mystic-south.com to obtain your tickets. And I am looking forward to conjuring with you at Mystic South 2022. Are you at a crossroads? Not sure which direction to go? Or do you feel powerless? Or is there another question that needs answering? At Moonlight Potions and Charms, our many services assist our clients to emerge their authentic selves and embrace the power and magic that lies within them. Many of our readings provide the clarity one needs to pursue their life's destiny. Our soulful readings assist one to discover what is required to be in alignment with one's soul journey. Our tarot readings provide clarity and coaching for those who are at a crossroads in life. Our animal medicine readings show what our animal brothers and sisters can teach you about yourself and your life. Unsure where to start your shadow work? Book a shadow reading. There is so much more in our wicked store, so visit us at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and embrace the power of your own magic. Communicating with the ancestors is a very important part of many magical practices. Some people think that if you can't see or hear them, you can't communicate with them. Well, you know what? That's just simply not the case. There are many tools we can use to communicate with them, and many of them you already have, like your tarot deck. You may have some bones. You may have a pendulum, and so many other different ways, even if you don't have any of these. But in my workshop, Tools Used to Communicate with Your Ancestors, I will be teaching you how to use those tools for ancestor communication. And you may want to bring your divination tools and a notebook so that you can have your hands on these things while you're learning. And so the workshop is Saturday, July 16th at 9:30 a.m. in the Oakwood Room. And if you're not registered for Mystic South 2022, go to www.mystic-south.com to obtain your ticket. And I'm looking forward to talking about the ancestors with you at Mystic South 2022.
At Witch Hat Chats, we promote magical knowledge, arts, and music from all cultures. We invite you to join us as our guest to share your practice, especially if your traditions are lesser known. Email us at witchhatchats@gmail.com. Tune in every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page.
And welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. I'm Saul Ravencraft. I'm here with Miss Nikki Kirby. We are experiencing MidSummer. Notice I didn't say celebrating MidSummer. We're experiencing MidSummer. Because, I mean, MidSummer is going to happen whether you celebrate it or not. Right. Whether you observe it or not. It is a thing. and it's happening. And you can choose to experience it or not. And I like to experience it. I think that connecting with the vibration of each of these points in the wheel of the year, it really matters. And it reconnects us with nature. One of the things that you learn about the wheel of the year, especially if you didn't grow up on a farm or something like that, and you're not aware of the agricultural aspects of the seasons, the wheel of the year is so closely based to those things. And when you visualize everything that you're doing, you relate everything that you're doing to what nature does. It helps you tune into a lot of aspects of it. So even if you are a city boy like me, or a city girl, or a city fluid person, that you are able to relate this into how nature deals with it, and that's what helps make it relevant, because everything that we're doing spiritually is reflected in nature, and that's one of the things. When I was looking over options for poetry today, I found a poem that I really liked, and I almost decided to share. But it was mostly about, God, it's hot. Back in the 1800s, someone wrote something that basically said, it's really hot, and everything's so slow right now. But that didn't feel particularly spiritual. So I didn't share that one. I do have one to share, though. Shall we?
Shall we?
Oh, I love finding these old poems. Poetry was not something that I necessarily was into when I was younger. And now I'm starting, especially as I find poetry that's connected with the Sabbats and other aspects of witchiness, that I'm finding some really meaningful things. This one is called MidSummer, and it's by Leonie Adams. This starbreak is celestial air, just silver, earthlight, dying ember. Underneath an arc of pallor, summer keeps her brightened chamber. Bright beauty of the risen dust and deep flood mark of beauty pressed up from earth in lovely flower, high against my lonely breast. Thou rhythm, like changing moons, the catch to which the waters play, that as they kiss moon silver, sink, and as soon to spurn the baffled clay. Only before the waters fall is paradise sure for gaining now. The grasses drink the berry bright dew. The small fruits jewel at the bough. Heart-breaking summer beyond taste. Ripeness and frost are soon to know. But might such color hold the west, and time be honey slow? Lots of wonderful imagery there.
Mm-hmm.
I love the picture of the dewdrops hanging like fruit on the trees. I love the picture of the flowers coming and everything emerging, erupting from the earth. Have you ever seen a time-lapse picture of a plant growing?
Oh, yeah.
It's not pretty. It looks violent. It's this thing comes up out of the earth, and it's the earth is shattered and strewn as the plant makes its way. The baffled earth, dealing with this eruption going on. But the other thing that I enjoy there is the idea at the end, where, being in summer, and it's what we were talking about, everything just moving so quickly. Being in summer and at this stage of everything means that winter is going to be here before we know it. And couldn't we maybe slow that down a bit? Couldn't we enjoy the summer? Now, right now, enjoying the summer is kind of a relative thing. It's challenging to get a lot of pleasure out of 106 degrees. I kind of long for winter in those moments. And yet there is an energy with summer, a brightness, the long days, and the fireflies at night, and when it does cool down nicely. And it does. You had to get away from the city a little bit, because that concrete in the city soaks everything up like a heat sink, and that's why it is so hot at night, because there's so much to soak that up. But you get out a little ways from that, and as soon as that sun goes down, it gets really pleasant, there's just a loveliness to summer energy, and the one of the things that happens there as well is there are certain crops that become available now. Yes, there's a big harvest coming, but there are some things that are ready right now. Here's a watermelon. Here's a cucumber. Enjoy it today, right? You don't have to wait till fall. And there's a bounty that's available that's just waiting to be picked and enjoyed. Might as well, otherwise it's just going to rot there. And that, I think, is one of the nice things. This is a great time to enjoy a good salad. Right? And some excellent veggies and things like that you don't necessarily enjoy all the time. Some fruit. You were talking about citrus, right? Yeah, you got to prepare those peels. You got to eat that fruit. And I love all of the bounty that comes out right now in the middle of summer. So that's just it's exciting time.
It is. And thank you for that, Saul. That was an amazing poem, as usual. Now we need to go to our craft. We have selected from Magickal Craft, which is on YouTube. Their information is in the summary. They have a lot of wonderful different crafts for you to be able to do. And today we selected the sun wheel wreath. And so let's go ahead and get that started.
Hello, my darlings, and welcome. Today I'm going to craft a litha wreath and a sun wheel to decorate my home for summer solstice. Let's do some magical crafting. This wreath project was a lovely way to spend an hour. I wanted to use colors associated with the sun and creativity, passion, and nature. So it's made from small yellow and orange flowers with green moss. I wanted to incorporate all of the colors of the season. This is an 8-inch grapevine wreath, which is the perfect size to decorate my altar. If you want to make a wreath for your door or your home, I recommend getting a larger wreath and larger silk flowers. Litha is a celebration of summer and the sun, so I also added bright coppery orange beads on wire to the project to pick up and reflect sunlight. I also added a small bird decoration to the wreath. It was made with real bird feathers, and my kitty was very interested in it. She even tried to make off with it and turn it into a toy, but luckily, I rescued it. I used yellow, orange, and green ribbon in 2 different patterns to add sun wheel symbolism. I used 3 strands of ribbon across and 3 strands down and wove them together to create the sun wheel cross inside the circle wreath. In many ancient cultures, the sun deity drove some kind of chariot across the sky during the day, and this symbol has come to represent a wheel of the sun god's chariot. I used a hot glue gun and glue sticks to add moss and flowers to the wreath, and wrapped beads on wire around the wreath to add a bit of extra sparkle. I finished the project with a colorful bird glued at the bottom. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the video without additional comments, except to say that I hope this video gives you some ideas to make your own midsummer decor to celebrate summer solstice, and I hope you have a blessed Litha.
Now, wasn't that simple, Saul?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. The magical crafting. I mean, if you read old grimoires and you know, things like that, there's a lot of complex things that have to be done with anything that's going to be part of your magical practice. There is sacrifice that must go into it, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. There are certain things where that's appropriate. Although I find that for myself, the sacrifice is not so much monetary. It's in the research and the work that I do to find the right thing, to really understand what it's for, and then to not just go buy it on Amazon or something like that, but to really discover the right one for me. And that takes a while. I remember so I was looking at the idea of a besom or something like that, a broom, the idea of the broom. And after a while of looking and thinking and exploring and considering making one and all that, I realized that was not appropriate for me. That what was really appropriate was something more along the lines of an Egyptian flail, an Egyptian brush, that connected with me a lot more. That to me felt much more like a magical tool, and that's what I ended up with. But crafts like this, they don't have to be complicated. It's what you put into them, in the work, and how you incorporate them into your practice and your lifestyle. That's what makes the difference.
Well, the thing about it is also when it comes to magical tools, you do not have to make them, okay, for them to be magical. Basically, all the tool is a symbol of your magic. It's not magical in itself. The thing about it is I look at it this way. If you want to create your own magical tool, awesome. Do the research. What's required of it? What's the materials that are required of it? What's the time that's required of it? Especially if you don't understand it. Like if you want to make your own dream catcher, I'm sorry, those things are a bitch to make. Okay. I'd rather go purchase one.
I made one though. I made one. It's a long time ago, and I'm not sure that I would make it again because I'm not completely sure how I'm connected with that spirituality and that vibration.
Right.
But I did make one, and I was kind of pleased with how it came out.
Well, I also encourage people to go and support their local pagan shops because, number one, you are supporting not only them, but you're also supporting the community as well because we do need our shops. And when you're purchasing something and you think it's a little high, especially if it's handmade, consider the time that they had to put into it. And it's not just the time. When I mean time, it's not just their personal time that they've put into it, but their magical energy that they've had to put into it to craft it for you. Think about what the supplies may have cost. If you've got a one that has a lot of stones, that one, the wood might not have cost as much, but those stones certainly do cost, especially if you want them polished or if you want them in a certain fashion or whatever. They do cost. And then on top of that, the timing that they have to do, especially if they're doing any woodwork on them or if they've added feathers to them or whatever. Consider what it takes for this person to make this magical tool for you to use. And that's just not with tools, that's also with any type like oils, as well as sprays and candles and stuff like that. Think about their energy, think about what is it that they have to put into it. And when it comes to us pagan businesses, we literally make this item for whoever is supposed to purchase it, whether we know who that person is or not. And I know with me personally, I always do my blessings and say, okay, whoever this is for, I hope that they are very prosperous with it and they get whatever they require. That is my blessing for each and every one of them. And so don't just think that, oh, I have to be a witch, so that means I have to make my own Florida water, I have to make my own oils, I have to make my own candles. Don't do that. Don't do that. 9 times out of 10, number one, you don't have all the time to do it. You don't have all the money to be able to do it either. Because I'm sorry, wax costs a lot of money. It does. It costs a lot of money. And then on top of that, if you want to put it into like a glass or you want to put it into something else, that does cost a lot of money. So make sure to support your pagan shops, because we really do need your support. We are there for you, and we are the ones that you come to when you have questions. So make sure you support your pagan shops.
Right. And I would say along with that, that if you are the sort of person that that whines about the price of things and all that, then you should make everything yourself.
And see how much it costs.
That's right. And if you're good at it, then fantastic. That'll be a great addition to your practice. There is value in making those things yourself. But don't fight with other people about the value of what they're crafting.
True.
That's not productive.
All right. So what is our divination for MidSummer, Mr. Saul?
Well, as you know, divination, any kind of work, always starts with intention. So what would you consider to be the key intention that we're working for, what we're trying to understand today for our divination?
How about, because it is, or we are celebrating the sun, will our passions become prosperous?
Okay. All right. So we're going to work with a couple of different things today. A while back, we talked about witches' runes on the program, and I just thought that was fascinating. So I picked up some of the witch runes, and I have been using them for a little while. And I do like them. I find them very intuitive to work with. I will tell you, if you've ever worked with the Elder Futhark runes, the Norse runes, and you struggle with them, check out some witch runes. Because they connected with me in a completely different way. And you know, it's funny, we get stuck on things. You can only get a meaningful card reading from a tarot deck. No, that's not true. There are new symbols, new ideas that people are coming up with that can still be very effective. So what we're going to look is the energy surrounding things using the witch runes. We're going to draw something for that. And then we're going to work with the Halloween Oracle deck, which I mentioned earlier. You said that this is one of the decks that you like to work with, which I did not know. I've seen you use the Dragon Tarot, but I've not seen you with the Halloween Oracle that I recall. I've slept since then if I did, so please excuse me. But we're going to use this to look at sort of the higher self message that we get. So let's state that intention one more time.
Are our passions going to be prosperous?
Our passion's going to be prosperous. All right, excellent. So I'm going to reach in here with my left hand, my psychic hand. We'll mix these around. These are also nice and big. Very easy to see. Interesting. So we get the crossroads. The crossroads have a dual meaning. One is like what we think about, where we have choices going on, but this is also really well connected to the root worker concept of being at the crossroads. As you know, the crossroads are a very powerful place. It's where big stuff happens. When you have to do major root work, you go do that at the crossroads. And so I see a combination of the idea of choices. I think we are in a position right now where there are choices we have to make, and that our choices matter. And we have to be bold about making choices. That's something that I think we're really bad at in general, right? Someone's got to make a decision. You, witch, make a decision. Well, I don't know. I mean, this could be good this way, and it could be bad that way. And what do you think? What does everybody think? Okay. Now, it's true. There is a point where you got to have some consensus. Okay. Especially when you're dealing with things that affect other people. But you also need to be able to make the call. And decide right now. And that, I think, is where the choices and the options become the power. Where the should I go this way or should I go that way becomes, we're doing this. The work begins here, the work begins now. And we're burying the stuff in the ground and we're moving forward. So I see a duality there. And I think that right now our ability to make our choice confidently and move forward with action is really important right now on a number of different things. Things going on in society and things going on for individuals, because it's really important. You can't have a good army without a bunch of good soldiers who are able to function on their own for what they need to do. And for what we're doing now, we need you to be the best you that you can be right now. And we need you to be focused on your shadow work and get that shit done. So that you are more in your own power and you aren't asking people for permission to do what you need to do. So I like this. I think this is a wonderful rune to see right now. Now let's take a look at what we're going to get from the Oracle deck, and I'm just going to mix these a little bit. But ultimately, the way that I draw is not going to be cutting or what's on top. I'm going to feel my way through this. It's a technique that I stumbled across when I do readings for people remotely. I used to try and do something where I'd move my finger around and go, okay, tell me when to stop. Oh, there was a delay. Which, back this way, forward that way, what? And I realized that the better way to do it was to just let them send their intention out. And as I move through the cards, something will jump, something will break. I can't explain exactly what it's like, but if you start moving through the cards, it'll do something that you go, oh, that one. And I find it to be a very effective way. It's actually one of the ways I tend to select cards for myself, is to let the cards tell me. And if I don't feel anything up front, then I go ahead and cut them. Oh, there we go. That one jumped out for me right here. So what do we have here? Forgiveness.
I think that's your favorite card.
I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know what's going on with this.
You need to forgive yourself, Saul. That's what it's saying.
Well, but I think the spirit of forgiveness is just really critical to what's going on in our world right now, because so our society, I think, has really become unforgiving. You offended me, therefore, first, you don't get to exist anymore. And secondly, we're just, now my whole life is dedicated to shame and destruction and that kind of thing. And we've got, you were talking earlier about people driven by anger, doing everything by anger. You know, sometimes anger is appropriate. Sometimes we need to be angry and we need to let that stuff out. But if that's the only mode that we've got, if that's the only power we've got, I mean, what, we're the Incredible Hulk, right? The only time we can really do something is when we're angry, and then we can take action. We can't use our brains. We can't have a nice day and accomplish something for social justice. Our anger has become way overrated. Rage has become way overrated, and you'll see it when people are supposed to have conversations about something on TV programs, and you know, there used to be shows where people would sit down with opposing views about an idea and they would just talk about it, and no one would win. But the ideas would get out there, and they would have had the conversation and left the conversation with some level of respect for each other. Now they give people 3 minutes to yell at each other, and then they go sell a car. Right? And I'm sorry, there's nothing valuable that you can accomplish just purely through rage. Rage, you get someone's attention, definitely. Mm-hmm. Rage will get your power up, right? But if all you can do, now there are circumstances when you are threatened, right? Directly threatened, and it's fight or flight, then that rage, that anger helps you do what needs to be done to survive, and I get that. But sitting across from each other at dinner and someone says something you don't like, that's not the same thing, right? Unless you plan to put a fork in their eye, right?
Which
if that's
hopefully
the
you
goal,
won't.
right? Then rage is not useful there. That is where our higher self, our maturity comes in. So with that in mind, I think this forgiveness is critical, because we've got to be able to deal with ourselves and our own issues and let that stuff go. We've got to be able to deal with the transgressions of others and accept that those actions are in the past. What are we going to do moving forward? And we need to be much less about the rage energy. And that starts with forgiveness. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of letting go of anger. And you can't live angry. That can't be your baseline. It just doesn't work. Even if you're dealing with something extremely important, even if you are dealing with something that requires tremendous change and terrible opposition, and you're doing things for the protection of others, your ability to stand your ground is so much more powerful than your rage. That's what really scares people. When they think they got you angry, then, you know, there could be that fight, and they might win. They might be able to cheat in some way. Oh, but when you draw that line and you go no further, your move, that's real power. And I think forgiveness is at the core of it, both for the transgressors and for yourself. You got to forgive your own sins as well. So applying to that, I think that we're in a very powerful place right now. I think that manifestation is going to come, but we have to turn our choices into empowerment and do the things, start the work, right? Cover it up and move forward. And we also need to not base the picture of our future on our past. Past performance is not indicative of future results. That's an important thing. We grow, we mature, we get better, we get stronger. Sometimes at different rates, but we are getting better. So if we will do the work, then we can accomplish a lot. And we've got to see that brighter version of it. So that's what I get from today.
Nice. Nice. I like that. I really do like that. So you like those witch runes, huh?
The witch runes I like. I've absolutely fallen in love with the Halloween Oracle deck.
It's amazing.
Yeah, just gorgeous. And I actually ended up with this deck by accident. I was at Curia Arcanum's doing readings one day, and I had another event the day before. And I've got different stuff that moves in different directions. And ultimately, I try to have the right stuff in everything that I need. So I've got half a dozen Robin Wood tarot decks in different places, so I've got one when I need it. But I went to Curia Arcanum, and I realized that I didn't have my cards with me. They were in the wrong place. And I just had forgotten to check on that. And I could still read palms and such, but cards are something that people like. And so I looked at what they had in stock. I'm like, well, I don't need another tarot deck. All right, I need that like a hole in the head. And a lot of the Oracle decks, they had the Le Normand deck, the old French deck, which I already have and use sometimes. But nothing was really appealing to me. And then I saw the Halloween Oracle, and things like that can go either way. Right? It could be a powerful kind of deck, or it could just be something sort of silly with spooky pumpkins and cute little witches and that kind of thing, and a Hallmark tarot deck or divination deck. And the imagery on this is just so gorgeous. And the meanings, there's forgiveness again. The meanings that come out are just so powerful that I went, I'm going to give this a shot. And I was immediately able to give very complete, very useful readings with them. And it shakes things up. Love the tarot, but like something different. And of course, the witch runes, I just find them so much more intuitive. And that's the important thing, is to not go, okay, which one is that angly thing that's like this other angly thing that really I've just kind of memorized. I don't see it.
Right.
And with these, the imagery is very, very clear to me. There's a couple that I revisit from time to time just to further embed the meaning. But in general, I go, oh, I know exactly what that means right now. And it's allowed me to be much more confident at bringing runes into things, which love. So yeah, I like to play, and y'all should play too. Don't get caught up in one way of doing things. Explore and experiment with the kinds of things that our guests go. I've been pulling together a bone set. I haven't really done anything with it, but I got a little starter kit, and I've added a few things to it, and I'm getting closer to the point that I may really try to work with it. Never would have done that without talking to you and some of our guests about what bones can do and why I should try them. It's the whole point of our show.
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you something. The Halloween deck is very great for shadow work.
I'll vouch for that.
It's a marvelous deck. The first time I came across it was during a Hecate ritual, and that's what they did the divination with. And I saw all of these different beautiful, absolute beautiful illustrations. For me, when it comes to a tarot deck or an oracle deck, I'm always attracted by the illustration, not by the meaning. It's usually the illustration. And these illustrations are absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they have such a profound meaning to them. So, yes, the Halloween deck and the Witch's Runes are in the summary. So in case you want to go and get your own, you're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah, check them out. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Now it's time for our MidSummer spell. And so for our MidSummer spell, we are going to need the Sun card. And I took this card from the Dragon Tarot deck by Terry Donaldson. That one. And this is not required, but encouraged. I took another. This is a Solar Dragon from the Imperial Dragon Oracle that I have. So I got both of those. Like I said, you don't need the Oracle, but it does help. And also a pyrite rock. And what I'm doing is I'm putting them together like this, and I'm putting the pyrite right in the middle. And we are just going to have this pyrite to make it prosperous. You remember last week when our guest Pamela, she said that we need to put intentions into our stones and crystals. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put the MidSummer intention into this because it is considered the festival of the sun. So we're going to embrace the sun's energy and put it into this stone. And so however you want to do the spell and create your sacred space is fine. It's not a requirement that you have to call them all in. And you don't have to have a candle. But if you want to include a candle, you're more than welcome. I would suggest an orange one or a green one or a gold. And if you have to, white can be a substitute for that. But you want to make sure the candle is small, maybe a tea light candle or one of those little chime candles. Something that's kind of quick because you don't want to take 8 days for the candle to burn down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create sacred space. And so right now, I'm just having the roots come down from my feet and going into Mother Earth. And now I'm taking all that negativity from the top of my head and I'm making it go down into my shoulders. I'm pushing it down into my hips, down into my knees, down into my ankles, and down into my feet and out the roots. And I'm just letting it all go. And you want to make sure you're breathing during this time. And when that is done, you want to breathe in the positive energy from Mother Earth because she's going to replenish you. Bring it up through your roots, into your feet, into the ankles, up through the knees, into the hips, up into the shoulders and out of the arms, and up and through the crown in your head and out your pores. All that positive energy is just pouring down and it's creating sacred space. And this is how the circle is going to be cast. So now if you want to formally invite your ancestors, you're welcome to. If you want to formally invite goddesses, you're welcome to. I'm going to invite the Evermoving We Rise Phoenix spirit to come in and to add the power here. So Evermoving We Rise spirit, the spirit of the authentic self, the spirit of the phoenix, the spirit of starting over and cleansing yourself of everything you don't need. Come into our ritual today and help us to embrace our authentic self. Help us to add your power and passion to this and to be able to leave behind what we need to and grow what we are starting off with in our prosperity ritual today. Welcome, Evermoving We Rise spirit. All right. So our spell is going to be fairly simple. It's just going to be 4 lines. So what you want to do is you want to concentrate on using the sun's energy and you want to focus that into your pyrite. And if you have to or you want to put your hands around it because you want all of that energy to be focused on that. And so you want to breathe in all that positive prosperity energy. And you want to say, as the sun shines upon the days, may the pyrite provide prosperity in every way. From now until the end of time, it is done. It is done. It is done. And then you want to take that positive energy and you want to blow it into your stone. And hold it. And you will have this golden glow coming out of it. Put everything you're getting right into it. And it is done. And so now, we're going to dismiss the Evermoving We Rise spirit. Evermoving We Rise spirit. Thank you for your power that you added to our ritual tonight. Thank you for helping to emerge our authentic self and taking our magic to the next level. Please continue to guide us. Hail and farewell, Evermoving We Rise spirit. And so now you want to raise those roots out from Mother Earth and back into your feet. And this sacred space is open, but it is never broken. Ever moving we rise, ever moving we rise, ever moving we rise. All right. And so it's that simple. So what you want to do is either you want to place it maybe on your money altar if you have one, or next to your computer, or you may want to carry it. Wherever you want money to come in, that's where you need to put it. There you go. Simple as that. All right. So that's all right. So that is all for our show today, Saul. Man, that has gone by fast, ain't it?
Indeed.
All right. So join us next week when Saul and I will be chatting with Star Bustamante about Mystic South. I'm really looking forward to that one. So I want to thank our first responders, essential workers, and medical workers for all of your passion and dedication and what you're doing in this fight to win in this pandemic. Hopefully, it's beginning to end soon. We truly appreciate everything that you do. So, ladies, I'm telling you, we need to continue to be fighting for our rights. We cannot let somebody telling us to do what to do with our bodies. All right, ladies? So you turn around and keep that fight up. We got to keep that fight up. Because the only way we're going to get our rights is to continue to express that we deserve those rights. So wear a mask, get your vaccinations and your boosters, and keep your fuzzy babies, your family, and yourself safe. And have an absolute marvelous week.